All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about one of the planet's most mysterious predators, the Eurasian lynx. This cat is basically a ghost, a phantom of the northern forests. It's an animal that's so perfectly built for a life of stealth and survival that it can make a living in some of the coldest, toughest places you can imagine. So how exactly does it do it? Let's find out. So we're starting with this perfect contradiction. Imagine you're in a quiet forest and you hear this sweet, almost gentle call. You'd probably think it's a songbird, right? Wrong. It's actually coming from this incredibly fierce hunter. And that one idea, it pretty much sums up the entire mystery of the lynx. It's this beautiful bundle of paradoxes. And today, we're going to unpack every single one.
Okay, so what exactly makes the lynx such a phenomenal hunter? I mean, its whole body is like this finely tuned instrument built for one thing, predation. But the Eurasian lynx, it takes that to a whole new level. Let's really get up close and personal with its incredible biological toolkit.
So check this out. Every single thing you see here is basically designed for one purpose: hunting in the snow. You've got that sturdy, muscular body? That's for pure explosive power during an ambush. And those long legs with those big paws? They're like built-in snowshoes. Seriously, they let the lynx just glide over deep snow while its prey is sinking and struggling. And the dark spots? Well, that's just perfect camouflage, right? Makes it practically invisible in the dappled forest light.
And you can't talk about a lynx without talking about those ear tufts. I mean, they look cool, for sure, but they are not just for show. Think of them like super sensitive antennas, constantly moving, catching and funneling even the tiniest sounds right into its ears. You know, for a hunter that needs to hear a mouse rustling under a foot of snow, this isn't just a cool feature, it's a literal superpower. Okay, so we've looked at the hardware, right? The physical tools. Now let's get into the software, how this incredible hunter actually operates. You'll see that all of this physical perfection is built to serve a very specific and honestly a pretty lonely lifestyle.
So yeah, unlike animals that hunt in packs like wolves or live in big family groups like lions, the lynx is a true loner. It really is a ghost of the forest, walking completely by itself. And listen, this isn't just a personality quirk, it's a hardcore survival strategy. Where it lives, prey can be really hard to find, especially in the dead of winter. So, hunting alone means you don't have to share. Every single calorie from a hard-won meal goes to you and only you.
And this just drives home how incredibly unique that is in the big cat world. You know, you picture lions on the African savanna. They have these complex family groups, these prides. Teamwork is everything for them, for hunting big game, for defending their turf. But for the lynx, the dense, silent forest, it demands a totally different game plan. And that plan, well, it pretty much sentences it to a life of solitude.
So get this, even romance for a lynx is this brief, super cautious thing. I mean, when it's time to mate, you have two of these ultimate loners who have to somehow go against their entire nature. The approach is so careful, almost like a diplomatic meeting, with these friendly headbutts to signal, hey, I'm not a threat. They'll stick together for just a few days, just long enough to do what needs to be done, and then that's it. They go their separate ways, literally forever.
So you have to ask yourself, what kind of world makes an animal live like this? To really get the lynx, we have to get the extreme world it calls home. Let's take a look at this vast and incredibly challenging environment.
Make no mistake, the lynx is an animal of the cold. In fact, it's the most northern living cat species on the entire planet. It thrives, absolutely thrives, in places that would finish off most other animals. We're talking deep, silent, subarctic forests, all the way to the high-altitude freezing meadows of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau. This is its kingdom. It doesn't just put up with the cold, it was forged by it.
And if we want to zoom in and really understand its world, there's this one incredible place we can look at, Xinlong County. It sits on the eastern edge of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, and what researchers have found there is just mind-blowing. It's one of the most important places for wild cats on Earth, a real, honest-to-goodness biodiversity hotspot.
So scientists set up a bunch of camera traps there, and what they found was just wow. They didn't just find the lynx, they found 6 other species of wild cats sharing the same space. You can see them right here. Snow leopards, regular leopards, the super elusive Pallas's cat. The list is amazing. Now, when you see this many different top predators, including our lynx, all living in one area, that tells you something huge. It means this place isn't just a habitat, it's a complete, thriving, and super healthy ecosystem.
And if you want proof of just how healthy that ecosystem is, look no further than this chart. Now, it shows something called a relative abundance index, which is just a fancy way of saying how many animals are around. And look at the difference here. The bar for the lynx, the predator, is pretty small, but the bar for its main prey, the sumbar deer, it's huge. And that, my friends, is exactly what a healthy ecosystem looks like. It means there's a massive, thriving buffet of prey animals to support all those predators. The whole system is perfectly in balance.
But as you know, the health of any ecosystem can be incredibly fragile. And, like with so many of the world's great predators, the story of the lynx is deeply, and often tragically, tangled up with ours.
If we look at the lynx's history in Europe, well, it's a pretty grim story. Back in the Middle Ages, it was just seen as a pest, a competitor, so it was hunted down. By the 19th century, this relentless campaign against it had pushed the lynx completely out of its ancient homelands. In many countries, it was just gone, wiped out. It took until the 1970s for people to wake up and realize the massive mistake they'd made, and that's when the slow, really difficult work of bringing them back began.
Thankfully, today, the story is starting to change for the better. In places like China, for instance, the lynx is now officially a Level 2 protected animal. And that legal status, that piece of paper, is a massive step forward. It's us as a society finally saying, this animal has value, and we are committed to making sure it has a future.
And really, that brings us to this incredibly powerful idea. It reminds us that protecting wildlife isn't just some nice thing we do for the animals. The fate of a top predator like the lynx is tied directly to the health of the entire forest, which means the water we drink, the air we breathe, it's all connected. Protecting them is, in the end, about protecting ourselves.
So that's where we're left, with this question. Because the story of this solitary hunter, it's about so much more than just one animal. Its survival is a direct reflection of the health of our planet's wildest places. Think of the lynx as a living, breathing barometer for the Earth. Its future doesn't just tell us how our forests are doing, it forces us to turn around and ask a much bigger question. What does our own future look like?